Media Dialogues in 2022.
Hi, welcome to Media Dialogues. I'm Anuradha SenGupta. We're all trying to reclaim our normal lives, going out, meeting people, trying to put the pandemic behind us, and desperately hoping we've seen the back of it. For alcohol brands that have relied on experience and lifestyle marketing, this is good news. Now, one of the biggest events on the youth calendar, Bacardi NH7, was held again live on ground in, I think, Pune to begin with, and has moved on to subsequently to other cities after a gap of 2 years. Now, to find out what the response has been to this and to get a sense of what the Indian market is throwing up as far as consumption trends are concerned, I'm talking today to Sanjit Singh Randhawa, the Managing Director of Bacardi in India. The company counts Bacardi, Breezer, Grey Goose, Doers, Bombay Sapphire, Martini, just some of its marquee brands. Now, it also expects business in India to grow fivefold by 2030. Sanjit, thank you very much for joining us from Gurgaon.
Thank you, Anuradha. It's a pleasure being here with you.
So give us, were you on the ground in any of the cities that NH7 has been conducted so far this year? And what is the experience? What are the observations in terms of the behavior people are exhibiting being on the ground at this showpiece marketing event for you guys?
You know, Anuradha, the Bacardi NH7 Weekender is in its 12th year. And I have been fortunate to be for most of them across the years, having worked for Bacardi for many years. And it was such a pleasure to be back on ground in Pune on 26th, 27th of March. And the energy on ground was just fantastic, you know, and we had consumers walking up to us and saying, you know, it's great to be back. It's great to be back in Pune at the NH7 Weekender and with Bacardi. I mean, we had a packed crowd. We had to limit the number of guests we could have at the festival because of restrictions. But even then it was packed. We were packed completely. We had over 2 days, 10,000 people, because the limit was 5,000 per day. And we had a great show. And we'll be back again in December in Pune and a few more cities in this year.
India is supposed to be one of the top 10 priority markets for your company. Why that is so? What is it about the Indian market and its ability to consume alcobev brands that makes it a priority market?
You see, India is I mean, the second largest market by volume and by value, if you look at it. And Bacardi has seen that many years ago. We started business we invested in this country, in India, way back in 1996. We set up our factory and we were operational from 1998 in India. And since then, we've come a long way. And, you know, the growth has been tremendous. One data point that not many people talk about is Bacardi in India has grown every year from 98. The only year where we had a small decline was because of COVID in the year 2020-21. But other than that, every year we've grown year on year. And if I had to look at the last 20 years of CAGR, we've been 25% plus. So it is a priority market because of the opportunity that is there. The large young population, we add probably, I think, 5 to 6 million young people to the legal drinking age every year. The other thing of late, and why it is even more so today, is because we're seeing a trend of premiumization. And we have the portfolio to address that. Today's young Indians are saying, I'll drink less, but I'll drink better.
Yeah.
And our brands are there to serve that, you know, to serve them and provide them that experience.
That word premiumization, that is a word that you've just used, and I had, you know, Hina Nagarajan of Diageo on this show a few weeks ago. She said the same thing. That is something that most alcobev companies are reporting and are latching on to. What is driving premiumization? Given that also we are living in times of inflation, we are talking about people's incomes getting affected quite badly in the last 2 years. unemployment figures rising. This uptrading and premiumization, how do I understand that in the context, the larger macroeconomic context of people and their livelihoods?
So as I said, people are drinking less, but they're drinking better. So the affordability comes there because they say, I'm not going to drink to get drunk anymore. I'm drinking to just enjoy the company of my friends at the right occasions, in the right environment that I am in. Second, drinking at home has taken a rise during the pandemic period, and therefore, rather than drink something very expensive in the on-trade, I can afford to drink something better at home and with a close group of friends, and that has again fueled premiumization. You are seeing a kind of diverse pull. The middle segment, people are probably trading down, but some of them are trading up, and that's leading to the premiumization story as well. Third, you are seeing an influx of brands, global brands being available, and consumer having a wider choice today. And when the consumer has the choice, he will choose something that is good. Also, you're seeing a dramatic metamorphosis of the retail environment of the liquor industry.
Yeah.
The type of stores that are coming up, you see big stores, browsable outlets. I mean, consumers can walk in, pick and look at the bottle, read the labels. Gone are the days when you put 100 rupees under a cage and then you are given one bottle. Today you have a choice, and women are drinking and feeling comfortable walking into a store and picking up a bottle and a bottle of their choice. So all that is fueling, and people are traveling. Before pandemic, they were traveling. They had access to brands. They came back, and they were quite happy to see those same brands available in India and at domestic stores. So all of this pulled together is kind of fueling this premiumization.
There's so many trends that you have laid out there. I just announced at the top of the show that you all are looking at a 5-fold increase in your revenues in the next 7 years. Which of these trends will really be the driver for those kind of goals?
So what is driving our ambition to grow 5x is a few things. One is our big, bold bet on whiskey. Bacardi has been known to be a rum company worldwide. But as you know, we also are leaders in the premium white spirits with Grey Goose vodka and with Bombay Sapphire gin. But not many people did know that we had a great portfolio of Scotch whiskies and award-winning liquids that as well, but it was Scotch whiskey. So over the last 4 years, we've kind of focused our energy and resources on whiskey and with Scotch whiskey. And I mean, we've emerged as possibly the fastest growing Scotch whiskey in India over the last 3 years. Our Scotch whiskey portfolios are growing at 50% plus now, and right through pandemic as well. So our big bold bet on whiskey is one thing that encourages us to go after that ambition. The second, as I talked about, is the premiumization trend that we are seeing happening in India, and our portfolio having the right to win in that situation. With Grey Goose, with Bombay Sapphire, with our premium SKUs of Dewar's whiskey with 12, 15, 18, our malt whiskies, Aberfeldy, Altmore, and Royal Brackla. And then, of course, Patron, tequila, and then I can go on to martini vermouths and martini sparkling wines. So there's a large portfolio which addresses that consumer need. So that's the second part of that. The third one is basically our people. We lay a lot of emphasis on our people. And in Bacardi, we address our employees as primos, which is Spanish for cousins. So our primos are our biggest assets after our brands. And our investments behind our people, our culture that we build upon, we live by certain values, fearless family and founders, to say that, and a very highly engaged team. And over the years, we've kind of laid focus on diversity as well, Anuradha. And we've added. Today, I can tell you that my leadership team, 50% of my leadership team are women. My CFO is a woman. My marketing director is an expat coming from UK, a woman. My head of legal is also a young lady. And that's been a big change. So people is the third pillar. And the fourth one is very interesting. It is our ambition to play where the consumer is, and therefore we will have an ambition of playing in domestic Indian spirits, premium end of the Indian spirits segment as well. So all of that will fuel our ambition to touch 5x.
Okay, so let's take each one of those and get you to amplify a little bit more. Right to win, that's reference to the brand portfolio that you have. Give us a sense of how that will play out in the premium domestic spirits space that you just mentioned at the end of this answer.
We look at the traditional categories in India. Rum, we are present with Bacardi rum, and our play at the top end of the rum segment with Bacardi Casablanca and a Bacardi flavored rums is growing quite rapidly. We also play in the dark rum segment with Black by Bacardi, another brand that has really accelerated over the years. So we are playing and addressing the consumer in the domestic dark rum segment as well, who have moved up towards Bacardi over the years. I mean, today Bacardi rums is at we are over 3 million cases, 3.5 million cases of Bacardi rums that we sell across our portfolio in India. So that's one. If I move on to white spirits, with Grey Goose vodka, we are category leaders at the super premium end with Grey Goose vodka. And that will continue. Even if we just keep maintaining our share of 60% plus at the super premium vodka,
you still stay market leader.
We will still stay market leader. We are still market leaders in gin, in premium gin, but I must say that, must admit that we have seen an influx of Indian premium Indian craft gins who have come in, expanded the category. So the gin category has expanded. We are growing high double digits in Bombay Sapphire as well, and we still have market share leadership on gin as well. The smaller categories like tequila and sparkling wine and vermouths, we are already leaders there, and we'll continue to have that leadership position. We have the right to win there.
Right.
The most interesting thing is whiskeys. Now, in whiskey, let's start with Scotch whiskey. The largest, the most interesting category of whiskey today in India is Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
We are not dominant. We are far behind Diageo and Pernod. But I think over the last 4 years, we have become a credible player in the Scotch whiskey segment. From nothing to having about 5% market share of the Scotch whiskey segment says a lot. And we've grown rapidly at about 40-50% year on year across our Scotch whiskey portfolio. And that trend will continue, because we are very proud of the liquids that we have in Dewar's, and award-winning liquids at that. As you probably would have heard recently, we launched for our southern markets a play in brandy.
I did.
We launched a brand called Goodman Brandy, and had taken a very premium price positioning there. Early days yet. We just launched it in December, some markets in January. But that's something that's promising, and that's been our first foray into a made-for-India product, really.
Sanjit, how much has marketing changed as a result of this explosion of digital marketing and digital media, which leads that marketing? Because, alcobev brands, because of India's regulations on how the fact that you can't advertise. So surrogate advertising was the route that alcobev brands took, and this was legitimate in the sense that whatever was using the same brand name, the brand extension, would have some scale of business that was approved by the regulators. But today with digital marketing, you don't have those constraints. So I want to get a sense of how that freedom is going to play out in the way you guys market your brands.
So first, you're right. We don't like the word surrogate and its brand extension. I'm glad you said brand extension to the end. So brand extensions for us are legitimate businesses, whether it is a premium soda water called Dewar's, which we import from Scotland and sell in India. And in future, we would bring in non-alcoholic products as well, which will be credible and authentic brand extensions, and those would be advertised. But digital has truly become a second language for our consumers, and the consumers are the consumption of digital is there for everyone to see, and the explosion in India is there. And we are engaging with the consumers with content with creators who put out content supporting our brands and our experiences, and that is something that would continue. Even through the pandemic, you mentioned about the Bacardi NH7 Weekender. For 2 years, we took it virtual.
Yeah.
And even when we went virtual, we had record attendance. In December of 2020, we had 21,000 people log in at one time to consume the Weekender experience. So those are efforts that will continue to be part of our marketing.
But has digital media and digital marketing and the targeting and performance that it allows you, has that sort of unshackled the alcobev category? I don't just mean Bacardi, but I mean the entire category in India specifically.
Well, it does give us an opportunity to engage far deeper with the consumer than what we were allowed to do before. I must admit that. Yes, digital does give us that avenue.
Other thing that you mentioned in the drivers of your 5x growth plans were women, not just the diversity in your leadership team and, but also consumers. The women were consuming more. What are women drinking? Because we heard wine at one point, then we hear gin. Anecdotally, women are drinking whiskey. What are you observing at Bacardi?
I think women are into every category, and predominantly, I would see that part of this, what is fueling the gin growth, is more women taking to gin. Gin and tonic has become the favorite cocktail. Easy to make and at home consumption. That's almost the go-to drink. A gin and tonic.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that stands out straight away. Traditionally, we have always had a 50-50 skew for our RTDs with Breezer. 50% of our consumption came from women in any case. So that continues. But I mean, increasingly, I see women in the circle that I work in, and I mean, they are drinking single malts. We have women in our business who are consumptions of even aged dark rums. All I can say is that we are seeing an increasing trend of women entering into the alcohol consumption. But in a way, it's also fueling the whole drink responsibly effort as well. Because when it's boys only, sometimes a drink responsibly is not the priority. But when there's a mixed group, it becomes that. And that has really driven that agenda forward of more youngsters wanting to drink responsibly. And as I said before, drink less, but drink better.
The other thing that's interesting is, the experience of the purchase experience, which is stores are looking better. You can order alcoholic beverages online now. You have apps in some states that it allows that. Give me a sense of how e-commerce, give me a sense of how certain states and the kind of rules that they've brought into place to facilitate alcohol sale and purchase of alcoholic brands. How is that going to help the business?
Currently, it's not really e-commerce in alcohol. That's not really allowed. What is allowed by some states, and specifically West Bengal, Odisha, and Maharashtra, allow home delivery.
And Delhi also, isn't it, Sanjit?
Not really. I mean, it's not. There were plans to have it. It's not really taken off as yet. But home delivery is basically from the retail store. So you have either the aggregators like Swiggy is delivering in West Bengal and Odisha, and in Maharashtra, the retail stores themselves have their own aggregator apps or whatever, and who are then delivering to the consumers within their radius of operation. What I would love to see coming in the near future would be e-commerce really taking off in the alcobev sector.
Do you see that happening? What's your sense?
I can't say that right now because I have not heard anything strong sense coming from the governments as yet, but it's something that I would like to hope that it would happen.
Sure.
Because that's what the consumer wants. I mean, that convenience. If today he can order anything on the grocery list and get delivered in 10 minutes now in some cities, There will be a time, hopefully, that alcohol can be delivered, and with the guardrails that the government wants to put. You know, where the guardrails have to be there. Now, I think it's a matter of finding that balance of the ability for the e-commerce platforms to secure that transaction.
India is an unusual country in the sense of the great geographical diversity and the socio-cultural context. So, you know, alcohol consumption is taboo in some places, prohibited in some states, opening up in some other states. Do you see the taboo associated with alcobev consumption something that is declining pan-India?
It is. I think it is. It is. And as each successive generation of Indians continue on a journey of drinking responsibly, that taboo will diminish year by year. And as more women come into this, we are seeing that starting in the metro cities. It'll go down to the tier 2, tier 3 cities soon. As you know, the restrictions on the retail environment are eased up, and people are able to go and choose and have make a choice of what they want to consume, those taboos will diminish. But the fact of the matter is that we still have a very restricted universe of retail stores. I mean, we're in circa 70, 80,000 retail stores across the country as big as this. I mean, compare that to, let's say, FMCG, which are in millions. So that's
the headroom in terms of market access that you will be aiming towards, or you'd like to aim towards as a category and industry, right?
Yes, we need that retail store access. We need e-commerce access to get to the wider audience. So that is something that I'm sure will happen in years to come.
Right. Sanjit, we're going to have to wrap this up, but I want you to give me a sense of what makes it exciting or challenging both in this business, because you've spent a considerable part of your career in this industry, isn't it?
Yes, I have spent over 30 years in the liquor industry across various companies, and more than 20 years with Bacardi. And people ask me that, you know, why are you still here? And all I say is that every day is interesting. Every day there's a new challenge and there's something interesting to do. It's a dynamic industry. You know, one thing that we've learned as an organization right through the pandemic was how to be more efficient with our resources. That's forced us to do that, you know. They forced us to focus on cash, for example, forced us to focus on really asking ourselves where every rupee we are spending, are we maximizing the return on that? Because the choice was otherwise to let go of people. And we didn't want to do that. We didn't let go of a single individual, single primo of Bacardi right through the 2 years of pandemic. Everybody, including people who are employed through third-party partners, like our distributors or our factories. Not one of them. Because we said we'll tighten up everywhere else. We'll get more efficient at doing everything else we do. But we must keep the home fires burning. We just closed the year with tremendous growth. We are back to growth even versus the pre-pandemic period. And I'm only very positive looking forward about what we have to achieve.
Great. Well, that's a good high note to end this conversation on. Sanjit, thank you very much for joining us. And I wish you and your entire team at Bacardi in India a lot of good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again with another conversation on Media Dialogue, so do look out for us. Thank you.
Media Dialogues in 2022.